Well, another interesting report actually came out earlier today, and it's the IMF has upgraded its guidance for Australia's post-COVID economic outlook. It's now forecasting growth of over 4%. So what role can tech play in this recovery and, of course, this growth? To tell us his views, we're joined by Lorenz Swanepoel from Avanade. Hi, Lorenz.
Hi there, good day guys, thank you for having me.
Great to have you on from Avanade, Lorenz. Now, tell us, I mean, the RBA must be jumping up and down at the idea of 4% economic growth. If we get wages to go with it, that would be fantastic. What's your take on how technology is going to play its role in all of this productivity gain?
I think great question. I think we're seeing this market condition where there's a race on for talent, and I think it's talent across the board. I think specifically so. Based on the research that we've seen, it's called out as the number one barrier to entries for organizations looking to evolve their technology capabilities. So certainly the that focus on talent is a big thing coming through. And once organizations typically have access to that talent, the challenge that was highlighted during the research is, what do I do with it? And how to unlock value. And we're seeing organizations in this on this journey continuum at various stages of adoption of technology and data and artificial intelligence in their organizations. And I think it's got a great role to play to help really augment the human in primarily three areas that we typically work with our clients on when it comes to targeting value. And the first one is around the customer experience. So us all as customers, how do I leverage technology to create a better experience for customers interacting with my brand in both online, offline shopping environments, helping them search easier for information around my organization or whatever the case might be. I think the second key one is around really empowering our employees. So augmenting through the likes of artificial intelligence, through machine learning and capabilities such as that, which we really have available. If you look at what's available in Microsoft and AWS and some of those cloud providers already, we have available to us, and it's becoming more democratized to us as organizations. So how do I use and harness those technologies to empower the employees within my organization and really augment them, not replace, augment them through providing them with more and better quality insights around the specific tasks that they might be busy with. And then the third one is around operations. So we've seen during COVID significant disruption of supply chains globally. And I think that's where the concept of data-driven supply chain or intelligent supply chain, which is the ability to sense and predict based on the data at hand, what it needs to look like at a particular point in time and what adjustments might need to be done in processes across the value chain. So those are kind of three areas that we see at a very high level where technology can play a significant role in helping organizations recover.
Lorenz, I do just want to drill down on that augmentation, I feel, because obviously there has been that view for ages that technology is going to come and replace jobs. And now that is sort of shifting to being, as you said, the augmentation. Can you just tell us what that looks like in practice for businesses and how they can use that to their advantage?
Yeah, I think very good question, Elliot. I think let's pick an example in the retail industry. So the shop assistant on the floor within the store. So being able to, on a mobile device, surface accurate, up-to-date information about a particular customer that might be coming into the store is a great example of that. I think the other one, which is really a cool one, is what Mars is doing around the concept of intelligent vending machines, where they're combining machine learning and artificial intelligence and data to actually predict what stock might be necessary in that specific machine based on the location, based on the season and the temperature outside. So some very good examples of where it can augment what we as humans are doing within those organizations.
Lorenz, I do want to ask about digital ethics because, of course, it's a debate that we have constantly and it continues to evolve. You know, there is still a lot of concern around social media platforms, Facebook, for example, and what's happening there. And then you look at the whole Google ethical AI thing and that debate. What's your take on how you apply the digital ethics and who's responsible for looking after it?
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest barriers that we're seeing, or one of the largest conversations that we're seeing happening within the market at the moment. And from a research perspective, we saw that 96% of organizations is targeting and calling out digital ethics as a challenge for them. And really, the way that we should be approaching that we've seen successful firms with a very high level of AI maturity, based on the research approach, that is to actually build in ethics by design, not as an afterthought. I think the C-level and the C-suite within organizations ultimately needs to be responsible for digital ethics within organizations, and that needs to be tied in very, very closely with the concept of product ownership. So whoever is building or designing a new service which embeds some kind of AI capability needs to make sure, and also needs to be held accountable to ensure that the ethics is actually considered when designing that specific product or capability within the organization. And we might think it's just ethics in terms of algorithm bias and some of the great examples, or high profile examples that we've seen out there in the market, but it's also some of the it also touches on trust. So how do I ensure that I build trust when using AI and interacting through AI, if you were thinking perhaps a virtual agent, with someone engaging with me across one of my digital channels, such as a mobile or a website. And then the third kind of leg, there's the importance of data security, and considering those elements as we actually design the solution from the ground up, and not as an afterthought, which we kind of see as a pattern perpetuating itself a little bit in the industry globally.
So if you're a small business person, is it something that you need to take ownership of as well? Or do we trust the large companies that are supplying us with the technology? Or do we expect government to put a layer of regulation over the top to deal with these issues?
Yeah, very good question. Ultimately, we're the ones that's responsible as the small business owners for making sure that the trust and the ethics is in place. The tool set, and that is certainly provided, and we see organizations such as Google and AWS and Microsoft going through great lengths to ensure that level of ethics and trust is built in the technologies and the tool set they make available to us. But ultimately, it would be ourselves as small business owners. Having said that, I don't think it's as daunting as it used to be a couple of years ago. I think a lot of the capabilities that we need as small business owners to build in that trust and those ethics by design are now being democratized to us towards a smaller organization as well. It's not just available for large enterprises with large ethics compliance. So I think it's becoming a lot more easier, but we ultimately have to give thought and with a purpose build that in by design as small business owners.
Yeah, plenty to think about there. Laurent Swanepoel from Avanade, thank you so much for joining us on Startup Daily today with all of your insights into how we tackle the digital divide.
Thank you.